Every weekday morning, Hrishi K wakes up the city with Good Morning Mumbai.
Your number one breakfast show.
And here's what he had to say.
Rakesh Anand Bakshi in the studio, writer of directors' Diaries, the road to their first film.
There's a lovely incident which Santosh told me about how he gets into movies. In every movie he got into was because of his own philosophy he picked up from his own life. Before he came into the movies, he was a cinematographer and he had gone to the jungles in, I think, Andhra Pradesh or somewhere to do a documentary. And while in the jungles, they had this tribal guy with them who was tracking the path. And suddenly these 2-3 guys, they got very worried and they started whispering among themselves in their language. So Santosh Sivan asked his translator, what is the matter? So the translator told Santosh Sivan that, oh, they have tracked a tiger. So Santosh Sivan said, tiger? So what do we do now? The tribal told Santosh Sivan that if you see a tiger, you have to run and climb a tree. So Santosh Sivan said, okay, fine, you all fit looking people. I'm not fit like you people. You know, I can't run and I can't even climb a tree. So the tribal guy told him that, sir, don't worry. When tiger come, you will learn to run and you will learn to climb tree also. The beauty is what Santosh Sivan told me from that. He said, Rakesh, when I meet terrorists, I don't know terrorism. I did not have any knowledge about how they think. But I learned one thing from that incident, that you have to live life with that same philosophy, that when tiger come, you will learn to run and climb a tree.
Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K. It's the city surf sunny side up. Weekdays 7 a.m. onwards.
94.3 Radio
This
1.
is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
My guest of the day, Rakesh Anand Bakshi, comes from a legendary film family. His dad, the poet, lyricist, the great Anand Bakshi ji, of course, is an abiding influence in his life. Other than that, he's written this fabulous book called Directors' Diaries, The Road to Their First Film. Now, it's not a novel in the true sense of the word, because arduous hours and months and years of research have gone into the making of this book. It basically tells the journey of 12 of our eminent directors from the time they grew up, or from their adolescent years, right up to their first film. Rakesh, wonderful to see you here. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so glad that I finally got to put a face to the lovely, beautiful, emotional voice I was always hearing on Radio 1 all these years.
Most of the time people are sorely disappointed when they see
No,
you. But I'm glad you're kind enough to say that. Yeah. Some of these stories are really fascinating too.
Yeah.
Let's start with Anurag Basu, for example. Yeah. I had no clue that here was a boy in Bhilai who started off as a background folk dancer. Talk about that.
Yeah. He told me that one of the main reasons why he matured faster than his rural friends was because of this experience he had of joining Panthi dancers who visited his school one day, and his father suggested, why don't you go and learn this folk dance, with these people. And he was completely hooked to this experience, and because of that he traveled the state, which is today Chhattisgarh. And he said that was the most important experience, earliest important experience of my life, of what is art and what is dance and what is culture. And I matured faster than all my friends only because I got to go out, travel with this group of people, and we used to sleep in the open fields. For the toilet, we used to go in the fields. We used to bathe in the wells, open wells, and in the rivers, in the streams. And it absolutely changed. It made him mature faster than his friends.
There also comes a point in every filmmaker's life, a pivotal point, which actually leads to a surge in filmmaking. Some of them can be very unfortunate circumstances. I remember Bhatt Saab, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, sitting on the same chair that you're sitting, telling me that Anurag Basu's filmmaking took on a different edge after he stared death in the face and came back. Anurag is a cancer survivor. Yeah. So a bit of that came up in the conversation? Yeah.
Actually, when I met Anurag the first time, I was working with a production company, and he was supposed to do a movie with us. And as soon as the project, we told him that, okay, most probably a movie is going to be on, and immediately we found out that he's been hospitalized in the ICU because of leukemia. Anurag Basu kept messaging me from the ICU bed, asking me, Rakesh, when will my movie come on? And I am wondering that I've just spoken to his wife, I've just spoken to people who know him, and we know that he's got leukemia. Doctors given him 6 months, less than a year to survive. And I thought to myself, my God, this guy is messaging me about when his movie is going to go on, the floors. And I thought, oh my God, this guy can't die. This guy is not going to die. This guy is going to be making a lot of movies. And I was proved right. My instinct told me this guy can't die.
And he's come back stronger than ever before.
Absolutely.
Rakesh Anand Bakshi has been kind enough to give us a book to give away on the show. Now, this is a very, very special edition. It has all the directors' signatures. And also almost all of them, and some of the cinematographers.
About 6 cinematographers.
6 cinematographers who've been associated with these directors, and even
Meghna Puri, who's the Whistling Woods president and written the foreword.
Wonderful. Now you have an opportunity right here and now to win a copy of this book. He has covered 12 directors. All I want to know from you is 5 of those directors. 5 directors that Rakesh Anand Bakshi has covered in Director's Diaries. Go to one space, your answer and name, and send it to 53650 after typing that message. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you can search for HRISHIKAY. You could tweet out 5 directors, or you could post out 5 directors. Facebook.com/radio1.mum is our official page. You can like the page, post on the timeline, or inbox us the answer.
Great. There's also Session. There's also an art director.
Yeah.
Name the art director.
Okay, fine. We'll say 5 directors that he's covered. One of them is an art director. So 4 directors and 1 art director. Let's see if you can get that correct. Dire Straits setting me up. Rakesh Anand Bakshi in studio. 9:13. I'm Hrishi K. Dire Straits setting you up with Rakesh Anand Bakshi this morning. Son of the legendary Anand Bakshi Saab, the poet lyricist, now writer of Director's Diaries, the road to their first film. Now let's move on to some of the other directors that you've covered in this wonderful book of yours, a treatise, a dedication to these directors. Govind Nihalani, a man, again, I've had the most fun interviewing, simply because of his vast body of work. He's a man who started off as a cinematographer, and a prime example that a lot of these directors had mentors, and he had this wonderful mentor called Mr. Murthy.
Oh God!
So
I was moved by one of the.
Let's talk about that story, Govindji.
Govindji told me that when he got his chance to direct his first movie, cinematograph his first movie, he could not afford to buy a viewfinder. And so he went and met V.K. Murthy. He happened to meet V.K. Murthy Saab, his guru and his mentor, and his lifelong friend. And he told Murthy Saab, I need a viewfinder, and I've got my first chance to cinematograph my first film. And do you know anybody who's selling a second-hand one, or can I get one a used one to use for my movie? And he said that Murthy Saab just handed him his own viewfinder, which he had used in Kagaz Ke Phool. And what made me cry at that moment was when Govindji said कि राकेश मुझे तो मूर्ति साहब ने व्यू फाइंडर मेरे हाथ में दे दिया. He gave me his viewfinder to use for my movie, but I felt he gave me his soul. I mean, look at the emotions, how these people feel. I mean, it takes an artist, it takes a director to consider a viewfinder, which is a piece of metal, and it's physics and it's chemistry. But it is the directors. That's the reason why I love these people, and I love being with these people. These 4 years I spent with these people, because a viewfinder is a piece of his soul for Govindji, is what moved me.
And Farah Khan, this is another thing that I didn't know about her. You always think of her as this bubbly person with a great sense of humor and things like that. She started off as an assistant on the set of Malgudi Days in 1987. Yeah. Now, that's a nugget that you've discovered, and you've got to tell me about that.
Farah Khan's when Farah Khan was a child, and she was a very good dancer. She loved to travel. She should take a BST bus from Juhu and go to Sweet Melody in Linking Road and buy LPs and EPs and come back home. And she would dance to those numbers. And there's a song of Helen's, Kaise Rahun Chup. At the end of the song, Helen breaks a glass. Every time Farah danced to the song, she would break a glass. Her mother and father got fed up of her breaking glasses at home. And but Farah, she was a child, and she heard her father speaking to somebody at home, and he said कि मेरी बेटी अभी तो बड़ा अच्छा ना, I will not let her dance. I will not let my daughter dance when she grows older. And he didn't tell her not to dance, but Farah heard her father telling someone कि I will not let her dance when she grows older. And Farah stopped dancing for the love of her papa. And she said, I didn't dance for 14 years. I began dancing only when my father passed away, and I happened to hear Thriller by Michael Jackson, and that erupted in me my childhood passion of dance. So I feel that unless you lack something in life, unless something is suppressed in you, whether it's society, whether it's from your parents, or whether it's your own insecurity or your own lack of confidence, you cannot really reach anywhere, because you need something to fire your passion. And I think the fact that she lacked the opportunity to dance is what made her a choreographer.
Wonderfully said. We're going to play American Pie, the Don McLean version of the song, and you want to dedicate it to some people.
I want to dedicate to all my family, my friends, all those people who helped me write this book, because writing this book was such a challenge. In retrospect, at that time, I didn't ever think of it as a challenge or a struggle, because I was simply waking up every morning to a beautiful, lovely day. Today I have to meet Prakash Jha. Oh God, I have to meet Farah today. Oh my God, lovely, I have to meet Santosh Sivan today. Oh, I have to edit Subhash's interview today. Oh, I have to transcribe Farah's interview today. I I didn't take it as a challenge and struggle. Now people make me think that, oh, it was a 4-year struggle challenge. But no, I just did what I loved. But there were a lot of people who supported me in this. And for them, I dedicate this song.
I can't go for that. No, can do. At 9:30, Vivek Nayyar. Hi, how are you? All well? On Twitter says, listening to the soulful words of Don McLean. And, I understand that you're sending a message to Kobada. I shall convey it to him. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, Rakesh Anand Bakshi's book is available at all major bookstores as well as online sites, since you wanted to know. Arun Rao, Sriram, JP Shetty, Kanak, all you people, Jimmy Karumalil, I know you've answered, but you haven't heard the question with great clarity. Now, he's written about 12 directors and 1 art director. We asked you to name 5 of them. So it's got to be 4 directors and 1 art director. All of you have mentioned the directors, but nowhere do I see the mention or the answer which features 1 art director. So you've got to give me 4 directors he's featured and the 1 art director that he's featured. So please do send out your answers all over again. In conversation with Rakesh Anand Bakshi, son of the legendary Anand Bakshi, the writer of Director's Diaries, the road to their first film.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio 1.
Your father, what a great man. And some of these directors, in particular Ashutosh Gowariker and Subhash Ghai, worked with your dad at very close quarters. Talk about his association with them and the joie de vivre that he brought to those projects.
I remember when my father, Subhash Ghai has done many movies with my father. His first movie with my father was Karz, and the last one was Yade. And there's no movie in between that he did with any other lyrics writer than my father. I mean, he changed his cinematographers sometimes, he changed his actors, he changed his writers, he changed his music composers. He never changed Bakshi Sahib. He always had one common lyricist across 15, 16, 20 years of filmmaking. After my father passed away, once he asked me, do you know the best quality of your father? I said, yeah, very simple. Everybody tells me simple lyrics, profound lyrics. Profound lyrics, simple lyrics, but simple writing, but profound meaning. He said, no, that's not the best quality of your father. Ask me, I've done almost 10 to 12 movies with him. He said the best quality of your father was that sometimes the movies got delayed because of cinematography, or sometimes because of the script not being ready on time. Sometimes the song was not ready in time, the music was not ready in time. Sometimes the actors delayed it because of shooting date clashes. Sometimes it was the weather. There was not an instance in over the 20-25 years I worked with a father when a song got delayed because your father didn't deliver to me in time. So the best quality of your father was discipline. He always delivered the goods even before he promised. He himself made promises to me. Okay, I'll give you the song in a week's time. He would give it to me in 3 days. If he told me I'll give you a song in 2 days, he gave it to me in 2 hours. That's the best quality of Bakshi Sahib. He always delivered his work on time.
And of course, you first met Ashu when you went with Bakshi Sahib, your dad, to his place. Was that it? Yeah?
No, I think I first met Ashu in school. Ashu was my school senior. And he was aware that I'm Bakshi Sahab's son, and he was always say that film worm from childhood days. And so he was always aware of I'm Bakshi Sahab's son. I was always aware that okay, there's a guy senior in my school called Ashutosh Gowariker who should always be involved in drama and theatre, something of that sort. But then I next saw him only after many years when he came home, because he was doing his first movie, Pehla Nasha, and Bakshi Sahib was writing his songs. And then I used to also meet him in Gaiety Galaxy, watching movies sometimes. Then I mean, because my father always kept his work, professional life and family life separate, so we rarely interacted with R.D. Burman or Lakshmikant Pyarlal or Kalyanji Anandji or Yash Chopra ji or Dharmender ji when they used to come home for the movies. When I saw Lagan, for the first time, that was the first time I saw his movie, and I was like blown by Lagan, and that's when I thought, oh my god, I wish I had made friends with this guy earlier, because when I saw Lagan, I happened to be in movies. I was working as assistant director with Mr. Ghai, and that's when I thought, oh my god, I wish I had made friends with this guy earlier. Look at this guy's movie, I wish I was assisting him. That was my first actual experience of Ashutosh's talent.
Fantastic. Now, JP Shetty has something that you've got to answer here. He's talking about your passion. Hi Rishi, say hi to Rakesh Anand Bakshi. He's witty, he's funny, he's kind, and he does lots of good work. Ask him about Bicycle Angels.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song, and we're going to come back and talk about Bicycle Angels. Rakesh Anand Bakshi is in studio. Now Jimmy Karumalil, Govind Nihalani is a cinematographer turned director. I want 1 art director and 4 directors. From the Friends original motion picture soundtrack at 9:38, and Rakesh Anand Bakshi is in studio. So Bicycle Angels, your abiding passion. Let's talk about that now, yeah?
Bicycle Angels is a social initiative I began because it happened to begin on its own. I was riding, when I began riding bicycles, my bicycles were costing about, each bicycle of mine cost about 25,000-30,000 rupees. And somewhere, even when I came home for the first time buying a new bicycle, my brother asked me, how much have you bought the bike for? I was so embarrassed to tell him that it's costing 25,000 bucks. I told him it's 11,000. At signals when I stop, and urchins, poor kids, when they come, they tell me, uncle, cycle kitne ka hai? I lie to them. I should tell them 5,000, 4,000. Because I just felt embarrassed. Like, how can someone ride a bike cost 25,000 rupees? When people don't even have, that kind of money is not even their life saving sometimes. When I began riding bicycles, I started early in the morning. I started passing doodh walas, bread wala, pav wala, ande wala, nimbu mirchi wala, phool wala, and I began noticing that the bicycles are in such poor condition, and their clothes are in such bad condition, and I'm wearing clothes which are costing, my glasses are costing 2,000 bucks, my helmet is costing 3,500 bucks, my lycra is costing so much money, and I just felt such a difference between them and us. And I never ever noticed them before, because I was traveling, I'm in a city, privileged people like us, we travel in cocoons, in bubbles, in AC cars, music is on, we're hearing Rishikesh or whatever, and we are completely cut off from the reality beyond our windows. But it's when you roll down the window, or when you get out of a car, you ride a bicycle, there's a 180-degree view of the sky, of the clouds, of the weather, of the smells of the city, of the fragrances of the trees. Sometimes some trees you pass at night, Raat Ki Rani, you get the smell while riding a bicycle. I never knew my city till I began riding a bicycle. I never knew how hard pav walas, doodh walas, newspaper walas, how hard they work. And they are so, talking of discipline of Anand Bakshi Sahab, they are the most disciplined people I have ever met. Your pav comes to you on time, your eggs reach you on time, your newspaper is never late. Think about these guys. So I thought, if I can do something for these people by giving them bicycles in exchange for their old bicycles, or maybe just buying them a new bicycle and taking the old bicycle and giving it to someone who doesn't have a bicycle, I thought somewhere I will start feeling comfortable riding these 25,000, 30,000, 40,000 rupee bicycles on our roads. Somewhere I was trying to equalize myself. I knew that I can't go down and live at their level, because it's not the kind of life I have grown up with. I just thought maybe this is the way I can start feeling comfortable riding my expensive bicycle on the streets.
Let's come back to the book. Imtiaz Ali is a wonderful, wonderful story of his life. Growing up in Jamshedpur amongst various
and
communities.
how he discovered books.
And how he discovered books. And he says in the book, as he's told me face to face, that he was a glorified delivery boy for a television channel.
Yeah.
And then he tried the advertising life, and it was almost as though everything was pushing him towards his first movie. Talk about what's so remarkable about this young man.
What is really many things were remarkable about him. I remember one incident where he told me that he never travels without a book. So once he was taking a train to some destination, and the train was about to start, and there was a D.H. Wheeler bookstore on the platform, and he ran to the store, and he saw a book in front of him. He didn't know what the book is. He asked, how much is the cost of the book? He said, the dealer said 5 rupees, and he had 5 rupees exactly on him. So he gave the 5 rupees to this guy, and he picked up the book and he ran into the train. When he got on the train, after a little while, he opened the book and started reading it randomly from the random page, and he read, and what he read moved him. He felt, oh my God, this is such good wisdom, this is such good things that I'm reading in the book. What book have I bought? And he turned the book and he opened the first page and he realized he's reading the translation of the Bhagavad Gita. And he told me, Rakesh, even today, whenever I feel low, or I feel the world is pulling me down, and I need a little motivation, or I need to just zone out from my day-to-day life, I still pick up that 5 rupee book written by Ved Vyasa and I read it. Irrespective of the fact that I'm from a Muslim culture, I read the book and I think it's generations of wisdom coming through. Another remarkable incident about him was that he told me when he was with a particular production house, he wrote many scripts for the production house, but almost about 250 scripts, and they never got made. But it gave him the habit of writing. Now, how that habit of writing helped him was when he got his first break as a director. The producer told him, okay, great, we are giving you a chance to direct a film, but we don't have money for a writer. You'll have to write the movie yourself. He said, thank God that I had tried so hard to write scripts. 250 scripts got rejected, because if I had not done that exercise to prove to myself and to the people I was working with that, hey, I got it in me, I'm a writer, I can write, I would not have been able to write my first movie. So when you get rejected, don't think of it as a rejection. It's an exercise. It's a journey towards that moment which will make you ready to write your first film, to direct your first movie, or to do your first show as an RJ?
Pictures of Rakesh Anand Bakshi coming up on Twitter as well as Facebook. Search for HRISHIKY. You can tweet or post right under your reactions to this interview. Facebook.com/radio1.mum. You can like the page. You'll find them on the timeline. Again, react. One space, your query named 53650 on SMS. We're still looking for that one elusive winner. A person you will get a personally autographed book copy. Most of the directors who he's featured 12 film directors and one art director. They've autographed that book. Also some of the cinematographers who worked with these wonderful directors. And we're looking for 4 people he's covered and 1 art director he's covered. Use those social networking platforms as well as the SMS line to give us the answer. See you in a bit.
94.3 Radio 1.
Beautiful girl, in excess, Rakesh Anand Bakshi in studio, writer of director's Diaries. The road to their first film. It's out now at all major online as well as bookstores. Go pick it up. Wonderful comments coming in. Vijay Venkatesh, not only was Anand Bakshi an amazing lyricist, he had an awesome voice. Baho mein bazaar aaye. Fantastic. Priyanka Kulkarni, privileged people like us travel in bubbles. We see the city when we roll down the windows. Lovely way to put it, Rakesh Anand Bakshi. And love how you are so honest about feeling the need to do something to justify what you have always got. Nice one. Lots of interesting comments coming. You really are the star of the show this morning, my buddy. We got one from Sriram. Rakesh oozes passion when he speaks. Seems like he would jump out of the chair. Pleasure listening to him. We're going to come back and have more conversation.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio 1.
Let's talk of Santosh Sivan, a man you deeply admire, somebody whose work I've admired. And what strikes me about the road to his first film is it was a children's film financed by the Children's Society. I think he took the script to Jaya Bachchan ji and, she approved his first film. He had to pay for it and then they reimbursed him the money. And his abiding passion for hockey as a kid.
Yeah. And also, I'll talk about the hockey incident. There's a lovely incident with Santosh. He told me about how he gets into movies. In every movie he got into was because of his own philosophy he picked up from his own life. Before he came into the movies, he was a cinematographer and he had gone to the jungles in, I think, Andhra Pradesh or somewhere to do a documentary. And while in the jungles, they had this tribal guy with them who was tracking the path. And suddenly these 2-3 guys who were showing them the way through the jungles for the shoot, they got very worried and they started whispering among themselves in their language. So Santosh Sivan asked his translator that what are they talking and they're looking so worried. What is the matter? Suddenly this whole atmosphere over here has changed, completely changed to a very serious moment. So the translator told Santosh Sivan that, they have tracked a tiger. There's a tiger nearby. So Santosh Sivan said, tiger? What do we do now? So the translator asked the tribal guy, said, okay, if there's a tiger, what do we do? So the tribal told Santosh Sivan that if you see a tiger, you have to run and climb a tree. So Santosh Sivan said, okay, fine, you all fit looking people. I'm not fit like you people. I can't run and I can't even climb a tree. How am I going to climb a tree? I can't even run. I've got a camera with me. So the tribal guy told him that, sir, don't worry. When tiger come, you will learn to run and you will learn to climb tree also. The beauty is what Santosh Sivan told me from that. He said, Rakesh, when I meet terrorists, I don't know terrorism. I did not have any knowledge about how they think. But I learned one thing from that incident, that you have to live life. You have to be a movie maker or an RJ or a factory person or whatever you do in life with that same philosophy that when tiger come, you will learn to run and climb a tree. I did every project after that without knowing that project, really knowing the project very well. I got into stuff thinking of tiger will come, we will learn how to run.
Jiten Bhagat, say hi to an old building friend of mine, or Dabbu as we know him.
Yeah.
Good listening to him after ages.
Exactly,
on
Dabbu, for my loved ones. Yeah.
And of course, Vishal Bhardwaj, and you've got to talk about the train connection.
I love
with Vishal Bhardwaj.
I was born in a privileged home and we always had 3 cars, imported cars by and large, and 2 drivers. But my dad always made me go by train and BST bus to school, to college. And even when I was working, till we were shooting Yaad Hai, I had a first class pass and I should travel to Goregaon by train. Cars were only meant for traveling at night for movies or, for socializing. When I met Vishal Bhardwaj and he told me that, Rakesh, when I came to the city for the first time from Meerut and Delhi, and I just couldn't get into a local train. The moment I would try to get into a train, a tsunami of human beings would drown me. And, I tried very, very hard. And even when I tried to get into the train, I got my chance to put my foot into the train would move. and it was very hard to get in. But after a lot of tries, Rakesh, I did get into a train, and when I got into the train, I knew I'm gonna succeed in the city. And look, he did.
Fantastic. The last leg of conversation with Rakesh Anand Bakshi at 9:57. Congratulations, Andrea Martin. You're absolutely correct. You gave us 4 directors, and the art director is Nitin Desai. We're going to come back and say bye to Rakesh Anand Bakshi. This is Florida. Florida, I don't like it, I love it. Director's Diaries, the road to their first film, written by Rakesh Anand Bakshi from a legendary family. Lyricist and poet Anand Bakshi's son. I'm in conversation with him. Okay, Tigmanshu Dhulia.
Yeah.
A bit about him.
I love that guy. He's so simple. He's got such grit, man.
What an actor, man.
Yeah,
what
an
actor.
Yeah. And do you know he actually wanted to be an actor? He joined NSD as an actor, but he thought he's a damn bad actor, and he got into direction. But he actually joined NSD to be an actor. I remember a very funny incident. It was sad, but also funny in the sense that he told me that he had made about 3 movies, and all 3 had not been released. This is before Pan Singh Tomar released, and there was a 7-year gap in his life, and he had no work. One very inspiring thing he told me was that, Rakesh, those 7 years when I had no work, I never stopped asking for work, yaar. Kyunki you should not feel shy of asking for work, because only asking work can get you work. And he told me that those 7 years I was so frustrated that I was not able to, get my film on the floors, and my films were already made, not ready. I was not able to make my next film on the floors. So I got a dog and I named him Action, and I actually got the chance to say Action at least 100 times a day, and I really cracked up when he said that. There was a very moving moment in the interview where I think he almost cried. Tigmanshu, he told me that he was once on the sets of Rajkumar Santoshi, and he was writing a movie for him called Family. And a spot boy came and asked Raj Santoshi Saab for a 5,000 rupees help, and they immediately handed him 5,000 rupees to the spot boy. And when the spot boy left that place, Tigmanshu told the director that I'm in even a worse state than this guy. I don't even have money this time to even take my family out for dinner on Diwali. And immediately Rajkumar Santoshi Saab told his producer to give him an advance of 50,000 rupees. So his state was so bad before Pan Singh Tomar released. He almost had no money to even celebrate his basic festival of Diwali.
Prakash Jha, what a wonderful story from Betia village town in Bihar to where he's reached today. Again, somebody who started off as an editor, and he understands lining up shots, and he feels that's the fulcrum to filmmaking.
Yeah, he actually wanted to be a painter and an artist, and he left his home to come to Bombay to be a painter and an artist, a sculptor, and his parents were against it. So he remained separated from his parents for 5 years, because they were not in keeping with his dream to be in Bombay as a painter and artist. But when he came to Bombay, he happened to have a neighbor who was a top art director of that period. He had also done Mughal Azam, and he happened to accompany him to a film shoot in Juhu. And that was his first experience of a film shoot. And that morning when he reached the set at 7 a.m., Prakash Jha told me, Rakesh, I was so mesmerized by a film shoot, the trolleys being moved, the camera being laid, the lights being set up, the costumes being ready, the makeup being done. And I stood in one spot in that location for 12 hours. It's difficult to even stand for 12 hours at one spot, just looking at the magic of cinema. And he was hooked. He joined FTII to become an editor, because he realized while he was working as an assistant director, that the film finally ends at the editing table. Everything comes down to the editing table. That's where the movie can be rewritten, remade. So he decided to learn editing to be a better director. There was a very interesting moment from his life when he was trying to gather money to pay his fees for FTII, the course which was supposed to begin after a year. He took up the job of a kitchen supervisor in a restaurant in Kolaba. But he also had to attend college because there was 1 year to go for FTI to start. So he couldn't, because he had to work to earn his living, because his parents were not ready to send him any money for 5 years of his first 5 years in Bombay. So he became a kitchen supervisor, and he would cook meals and take for his teachers to mark him present in college.
Wonderful. And we're going to sign off and say bye-bye to you with Zoya Akhtar.
Yeah. Zoya was, I met Zoya, and though she comes from a film family, her father didn't give her a break. Her mother, who was a writer, Hani Rani ji, didn't give her a break. It was her brother. She struggled for 7 years with one script called Luck by Chance before before her brother told her, you know what, forget the world. We'll produce a movie. So even though she was Javed Akhtar's daughter and she was born and brought up in a film family, it took her 7 years to convince even her own brother and Ritesh Sidhwani to produce her first movie. The thing about Zoya was all the directors taught me this one very important lesson, particularly that you don't need to know everything when you get into something. Because behind every director, behind every able director, there are many able men and women. There's an art director who supports you, there's a cinematographer who supports you, there's a costume designer who supports you, there's a lyrics writer who supports you, there's a music composer who supports you. There is such a strong support system. If you put that support system in place, there is more chance of you being able to make your first movie. And the first movie always becomes a key to your second, third, fourth.
Wonderful. Thank you for rolling by. It was a wonderful session.
And can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Which was your favorite chapter from all these 12 interviews and why?
Well, I've got to be a little biased here because, Imtiaz and myself are friends for almost 2.5 decades now. We know each other from our college days. So, a personal relationship there. And we had, I went with him to Kashmir when Highway was being filmed, and I did this whole audio documentary with him. So I've also worked with him, apart from being a close mate of mine. So that's got to be my favorite. And Mr. Jha is another person I've been working with for over, almost 2 decades now, because I do all his voiceovers for his promos. So because I know these two people and I've worked with them, Imtiaz personally as well as professionally, and Mr. Jha professionally, those have got to be my 2 favorite chapters. But that's just me, because you asked me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Up ahead, the biggest show on Indian radio, Hrithik Roshan with Youth Star, what inspires him, his trials and tribulations, and of course, his pick of Youth Star for the week, which is Virat Kohli. Don't go anywhere.